The political temperature in Nigeria has been steadily rising, especially with the gale of defections and counter-defections by politicians scheming and strategizing for 2019 elections that are at hand. While all this is happening, the National Assembly has been on recess. Now, with the supplementary budget, particularly issues concerning INEC yet to be passed, the clamor for the National Assembly to reconvene grew louder in recent days, culminating in a meeting of principal officers scheduled for today. Well, the events of today, where personnel of the Department of State Security allegedly sealed up the National Assembly, led to its first casualty: the sack of former Director General of the Department of State Security, AHMED LAWAL, DAURA. On Nigeria Today, we examine the recent developments at the National Assembly. Welcome to the program. I am Joy Osiago. Now, joining me to discuss this topic today is Mr. Precious Elekima. He is the pro-tem national chairman, New Africa Democratic Congress. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you.
Now, of course, you are aware of what happened at the National Assembly earlier in the day. What do you make of such development?
Well, it is difficult to blame security agencies too quickly, because we are living in an atmosphere where nobody predicts what happens, especially with the tension before they went on recess and the recent happenings within the political calendar of the country. So most times, the information before security agencies may not be what is available before the ordinary citizens of Nigeria. So I think that, first, if security agencies are taking preemptive measures to ensure that there is safety of lives and property based on intelligence they have, and our governments would go by public opinion to crucify, to sack officers who are duly doing their duties to the best of their ability, then what do? We discourage others who will have such good intentions towards the well-being of this country to play to the gallery. So I think that I do not know the reasons for the sack of the DGSSS, but I think that it is dangerous for the country because we are playing to the lips of what people think.
Now, let's look at the issue tabled, what the leadership of the National Assembly was looking at, talking about burning issues that they were planning to reconvene and address. Is there anything wrong with that, even if they were on recess?
No, it's their duty. They have to. The Constitution had clearly spelled out the functions of the executive, implementing laws, the functions of the legislature, making laws, because the resources of the country is in the hands of the National Assembly. The president doesn't hold anything. He implements what they have done. So if they are to reconvene to look at matters that they ought to do, they must do, because there is no other arm of government to perform that duty. The president is not as powerful as the National Assembly. So as far as I'm concerned, the National Assembly could sit from morning till 2 a.m., 3 a.m., because that's what happens all over the world. When matters of importance come up, they spend nearly 3 days non-sleeping to resolve those issues. So as far as I'm concerned, nobody is actually doing anything extraordinary.
Now, we all know that that meeting didn't take place. Can we look at the implication of not having that meeting now on the polity?
Well, the meeting didn't take place because everything was blown out of proportion. People do not see principal officers' office in the National Assembly as privileges again. They see it as right. So they already attach somebody to it. Or this man might be removed, or this man might be there, and all that. So that personalized attitude is what is causing the problem.
Now, it's not healthy for our democracy at this stage.
Well, what is healthy is that politicians should be well informed and well educated enough to know that these positions are transient. Nobody holds it. Nobody has it. So even if they rumor to say that they want to remove Senate President, it really shouldn't matter to him. He wasn't voted as Senate President. He was voted as a senator. By privilege, he's made Senate President. So I don't see any reason anybody could be Senate President.
Now, you did talk about politicians being well informed. I want to take back this question to you. Do you really believe that they're not well informed about what you just said?
Yeah, because if they are well informed, the country will not be where the country is. Look, the politicians, the Senate, National Assembly were going on recess. What are those things they left undone that they were proceeding on recess? If supplementary budgets and very important things they ought to do. One thing is, majority of the citizens are looking at the executive arm. No, the legislative arm holding the resources. They are representing the people. The executive arm is doing what they say. So if the executive arm says, look, you have something undone, you need to do it. Otherwise, this country is going to run into problem. He has done his duties. So it is they that had to go back. At the time they were proceeding on this recess, they had committees who have oversight functions. What did that committee say? So as far as I'm concerned, they can't share the blame.
Now, what is the side effect of all this, especially on the executive, for instance?
Well, if they refuse to do what they're supposed to do, then the executive arm becomes frustrated because the president cannot dip hands into the coffers of the country until they approve.
Let's look at the side effect on the electorate, because at the end of the day, some people will tell you that the electorate gets to bear the brunt of all this.
You see, the saddest part of this type of democracy, it requires a lot of talking manure onto the electorate. We're almost going into anarchy. By the time the first arm of government and the second arm of government are not disagreeing on issues, but are disagreeing on ego, then that is dangerous. If what they are disagreeing on is on executive brought this, legislative arm says, oh, this is not good enough, we can't afford it, it's too much, that becomes healthy. But if the disagreement is based on ego, then that means that we have not too well informed people having responsibility that they shouldn't have.
Now, we're going into another election year, 2019, and now before I continue, we're all involved in this, talking about the electorate, those who want to vie for the positions of senator or wherever you have it going into the National and State Assembly. What should the electorate be looking at? I mean, doing a critical analysis of what is playing out now before 2019 election, because at the end of the day, the electorate will get to vote those who are coming.
Well, you see, the problem is the electorate have a problem of understanding their responsibilities. The electorate, most of them see this as a game. They do not appreciate the fact that when they go to the ballot, they are handing over the treasury to somebody. And politics started from the Bible. Moses, Exodus 18. When Moses led the children of Israelites out of Egypt and was solving their problem alone, and his in-law Jethro had come to see him and saw him for 2 days, he was attending to the people alone. And then Jethro said to him, let me make a suggestion to you and show it to God if it pleases him. And he said to him, divide the people into wards and allow them elect, choose, or appoint those they believe in. And the people will have two qualities. One, those who fear God. Two, those who are not covetous. That is the screening you have today, they call screening. And then when they elect people, they bring it to Moses for certification. That is what they call swearing in today. And if you go to that chapter, they say, then the people were happy because problems now are not solved where the problems come from. So the politicians, the electorate have to know that on that day they are parting with the treasury. So if they are parting with the treasury, that is supposed to be a day of sober for everybody voting.
Now, but how many people are aware of what you're talking about? Let's just assume that there are some people who are not aware of their rights. What should we do to enlighten them?
First is, this kind of politics requires daily education. Daily education. Most churches, most places tell people, take your PVC, take your PVC, take your PVC. And some people, they say, no, we can't join politics. Meanwhile, it is in the political parties you choose first. Those who fear God, those who are not covetous. So when you do not join, and you only take your PVC, and PDP brings one bad person, APC brings another bad person, other parties bring other bad people, all what the electorate do, they go to stamp the best of the bad people or the worst of the bad people. So what it is that all Nigerians, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a pharmacist, whether you're a hairdresser, go and join the political party and participate in the process and elect those who fear God and those who are not covetous, because that is the problem we are having.
Now, you talk about the issue of covetousness. I'm interested in that angle because if you look at our society today, even those who know the genuine candidates to vote for, others come to bribe with money and they sway towards that. How healthy is that for a democracy?
Well, the issue is this. Thank God for the new Electoral Act. And we pray that the President signs it on time. But for the first time, Nigerians are going to vote because the whole process has biometrics except at the point of pressing the ballot.
Let us quickly take a look at some of the issues and matters arising from the National Assembly. Now we have also reports that the opposition came up with an idea this morning that probably the reconvening was designed to impeach the Senate president, and that also led to the drama that we saw this morning. Would you say that theory holds water?
First, not being too sarcastic about it. So, and then what? Does that override the national interest? Was he voted as Senate president? Was it bestowed on him? If the only people to vote are members of the Senate chamber, so if they convene and they do not want him again. What's wrong? After all, the day they wanted him, they voted for him, even though his party at that time, they don't want him. So as far as I'm concerned, people cannot hold tenaciously to personal issues against personal interest. If they are to reconvene, he should keep his mind open. All this drama is taking place because citizens have not been courageous enough to take back their powers.
All right, Mr. Lekima, we'll take a short break and then we'll be back. You're still watching Nigeria Today, reaching you from our studios in Abuja on NTA News 24. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll continue with our conversation.
The Nigerian Television Authority News 24 channel, your dependable all-round news station, offering you world-class news programs, documentaries, spotlights, promos and information highlights. Take advantage of our network reach and advertise your interest, goods and services with us. NTA News 24, first equals with digital broadcasting. You can reach us on channel 21 terrestrial TV and channel 101 on the Star Times platform. For more inquiries, please call Coretta 0803 618 9986 or Henry on 0803 379 0884. Join us today.
I want to thank you for staying with us on Nigeria Today. We still have with us in the studio Mr. Precious Elekima. He is the Pro Tem National Chairman, New Africa Democratic Congress. Thank you very much for staying with us as we discuss this important topic today. Let's look at our security agencies. In terms of crisis like this, in your own analysis, would you say, for instance, the situation today was well handled?
Well, like I said, that there is a lot of information available to them that is not available to the ordinary citizen. And in discharge of their duties, we should be careful. We should be able to study. We shouldn't run into conclusions. Because let's take a reverse. They were not there. Some bombs were planted there. Certain things happened there. The same people will say, oh, what are our security doing? They need to have an idea of what's going on. So as far as I am concerned, if we trivialize security and we able to pitch it into PDP or APC or one party or talk about it because for any reason there will be proper checks, it's done everywhere in the world. US airports, people lose their flights because they don't care. They want to make sure that the place is safe. There was shooting in in the Capitol Hill, and their security system changed. So as far as I'm concerned, we should exercise patience and understand that security agencies are working for our interest.
Now, looking at the proactiveness of security agencies, this is a meeting that they probably knew that would hold today. You were talking about issues of either planting bombs or things of that nature. Shouldn't they have gone ahead to check and be sure? Because the issue on the table, on the front burner, is a serious one. And there was a need for the leadership of the National Assembly to reconvene.
Well, security is a timeless issue. You could check 5 o'clock in the morning, and by 5 minutes past 5, something could happen. So they continuously keep watch. There is no leave. It doesn't have any rest time. So you don't know what happens. You don't know what they processed 5 minutes to the time, 10 minutes to the time. So I'm sure that if there is good faith and you see security, first is not minding the personal inconvenience you think. First is to appreciate the fact that there are people standing out there looking out for your security. and safety. Then as soon as you see security people, then there is a lion cry, president or whatever. It won't help us.
Now, considering the issue of defections here and there and where we're going at the moment, the world is watching. What should be the role of our security agencies in order not to heat up the polity?
No, you see, the issue is that the question would have been, what will be the role of the politicians in order not to heat up the polity so that security agents will not be overstretched?
But in a situation where politicians do not obey the law,
well, then the security agents have to be proactive and overstretched because they want to keep up with the happenings. You know, it's like you hold me down on the ground, you are there, I'm there. Because if you let me go, you will be resting, I'll be resting. So as long as politicians feel that, you know, you sit, there's nothing wrong in defecting. But did they talk to their constituencies? Did their constituents know that they want to defect? Is it because nobody votes them? Nobody votes. We are going to the first election. If they sign the law, this will be the first time Nigerians will vote. And you will see the outcome of these elections. Because all of us know how the results come. That's why I didn't bother defections or no defections. This is, you know, that's one of the issues we have with ADC. The old people were carried away with, oh, defections, oh, defections. So we asked, who voted for them? Because it's not that one of them defected, so the people in the villages know that something is going wrong. Nobody. Because it's writing of results, announcing. So as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really matter. And that's why we said that we cannot go back to PDP, that PDP cannot be used to substitute APC. And we wrote in our letter to say that if former President Obasanjo said PDP is now leprous, when did the doctor certify them to be free of the affliction? Where is the health certificate? Plus now, they have other people who are joining them from APC. So as far as we're concerned, heeding to the clarion call of a third force for which galvanized us to mobilize this country, 5 million people across the nation, only to find ourselves that they were using in a left-hand way to take us back into PDP. And we said, no, it can't happen.
Now, with all this drama going on, can we still talk about the issue of ideology in politics in Nigeria today?
I've said something that I said, how are you formed? What's ideology? This is what we want to do. Because let me tell you, the basic thing mankind needs, one is freedom, second is prosperity, third is peace. This is what mankind needs. And so what is before those to be elected is, I want to give freedom to the people. I want prosperity and I want peace. Now, if the people don't embrace this in their mindset, then they cannot do anything otherwise than the way they are behaving. Because we do not have employment. So our youths are facing two things. One, starvation, the other, stealing. And no matter how just you are, if you are given to choose between starvation and stealing, there is nobody who will choose starvation.
All right, we're running out of time. Just in a nutshell, what should we do now, talking about the electorate, the politicians, and the security arm, in order not to heat up the polity at this time?
But what we should do lies on the citizens. The citizens now will tell them, enough is enough. Time to go away. We must elect those we believe that fear God and are not covetous.
Mr. Precious Elekima, Pro-Tem National Chairman, New Africa Democratic Congress, want to thank you very much for your insight. And thank you very much for coming on our program.
Thank you, please.
That's how much we can take on the program today. You can join us tomorrow for another edition of the program. Till then, I am Joy Usiago, thanking you for your time.